Good evening, everybody. Tonight is night two, rather. I was going to say episode 2, but night 2 of our 8 Tales of Horror. What do we have for you tonight? Well, we have a great show, but you're going to have to stick around to find out. Let me bring everybody in. We have C the Superior as Skeletor slash first slash
Skeletora.
C the Superior, Chrissy. We have May 19th, Ricky himself. You see, you two can be part of this show. Ricky, what do you got to say to the folks?
Hello everyone, and thank you for having me on.
All right, super green. And we have Mark Wins back again. Now, he hasn't been on the show since he said Sonic was a good show, was a good movie, but we trusted him that he would make the right decisions tonight, and he promised that he would do that.
Uncle, I was definitely here for Avengers Infinity War as well.
That was a technicality.
Correct me if I'm wrong, you enjoyed that one as well, right?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, I typically block out all bad episodes. Forgive me for forgetting that. Now, listen, ironically, last week, Chrissy was reporting live from Vormir, okay? But this week, it is actually Vic who is in Vormir, or he's in the quantum realm right now. We have no idea where he is. He's given us no forewarning. He doesn't have the time stone. What's he doing? I don't know. But he did tell me why he picked this movie, because this is his second pick. The first one was I Know What You Did Last Summer. This one is See No Evil, as I teased earlier today. And he told me, he says, James, call me Cybok. And he says, I enjoy people's pain, and I wish to share mine with you. And so I'm going to make you watch See No Evil tonight. Spoiler alert, we have some people on the show who happen to enjoy this movie very much. Let's see if they get animated about it. Let's bring it. But we're going to jump into the synopsis, and we're going to tell you folks at home what this movie is about. See No Evil. A group of teens agree to help renovate a dilapidated hotel in exchange for early release from their juvenile sentences. Unbeknownst to the group, however, the hotel isn't as empty as would appear, and that oversight could cost them their lives. So that essentially is the movie See No Evil. We're going to jump into our first segment, which is Best of, Worst of. And who wants to start? Do we let a guest? Do we let the lady? Who do we go to first?
Not me.
Okay, I'll go.
All right, here we go.
All right, so my best of for this movie. Now, I just have a couple questions because I did see the movie, but I'm still very confused. These are juveniles, correct? These are juvenile delinquents. They're underage.
These are 25-year-old juveniles, yes. You are correct.
Okay, just making sure. All right, because maybe my worst scene.
So,
Chrissy, you're starting off with the worst or the best? Which one are we doing?
Or are they not the same?
Okay. Jump into the part that you like the most. Come on.
Okay, my best scene. My best scene is going to be when, what's his name? The token black guy, when he watched Richie.
Yes.
When he watched Richie be dragged off to his death.
Loved
it. Said not a word, lifted not a finger to help this man.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't even run for help for scenes and scenes later. That was probably my favorite scene because, yeah, it showed that there's no honor amongst thieves. There's no friends in this game.
That's how you read it. You read it as there's no honor, and not that there's a behemoth man with the hook who literally carried a grown man down the hallway. What am I going to do with no weapon?
That's didn't even make a peep. He just was just looking and didn't even holler or scream or not even let him down. Nothing.
Chrissy, let me tell you something. If by any chance we happen to be at a party and a killer comes in there and you're wearing some kind of fancy stilettos or whatever you got on, if you trip,
mm-hmm.
I will tell people that you were brave. You were a great person.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll be able to do that because I'm not going back for you. Okay,
you wouldn't lift a finger to help.
You gotta run. We gotta do what we gotta do. And I'll watch you get hooked. I'll watch.
Well,
but I'll be quiet. I can't get caught. I can't do that. I can't go through it.
Okay, token black.
That's right. I'll be the token black. Ricky wants to go last, so we'll let him go last. Mark Wins. What do you have to say? What is your best of?
My two favorite scenes are Richie Rich getting hooked. I thought it was hilarious because it was probably the least predictable thing in the movie.
Okay.
And because it was just like, oh, look, here's Kane. We know he's here. And then he just hooks him. And I'm like, I actually laughed. I thought that was hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
And he was dragging him. And then, like C said, token black guy, no help at all. He just watched. He was just like, Oh my God. Like, it was wonderful. It was delicious. And then my second favorite scene is watching that female correctional officer. I think she was a correctional officer.
What? Are you sure? Because I swear she was.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what she was. If she
me neither. Look, me neither. Maybe she was a correctional officer. Maybe she was a high school teacher. I don't know either. I'm not. I don't know. I was just. It's a theory, but watching her get choke slammed into the ceiling of the elevator, hilarious. I loved it. That was. And then it was downhill from there. But yeah, those are my two favorite scenes.
I actually have two, and my favorite scene is reminiscent of, as you call it, the token scene with Ty and Richie. I actually cheered that because not that Richie got impaled, but because that is exactly what I would do. It's not from cowardice, Chrissy, as you're going to say behind my back later, but he had no weapon. He had nothing. What could he do? You know, you all I can do is watch this person who he doesn't have any relationship with. You know, I have to see what the guy's doing. I have to make sure that doesn't happen to me, and where he's going, so I can go the opposite direction. And really, spoiler alert, he doesn't die until he meets up with everybody else. So, but anyway, my best of is when Zoe, and that's for those who haven't seen the movie or those who have seen it in a long time, she's the one that steals the cell phone from the high school teacher, right? And all through the movie, she's constantly talking on it. She calls her sister, whoever else, and she says to my sister, yeah, you know, call me back on this number because I'm going to be using it. This is my new number now, right? And so they see that the killer is there. They see he's gigantic. They see that they can do nothing against him. And her, and who was it? Jacob, right? Jacob, the bad boy, who we last saw, ironically, in Vic's last movie. He was going by the name of Barry in that last movie.
Don't you even.
And I know what he did last summer, played by Ryan Phillippe. Here he's played by a different actor, okay? But Zoe and Jacob, they go running off, and they hide, right? And they hide in record time. I've never seen anybody hide that quickly ever. Salute to them in every game of hide and seek, right? And they manage to stay hidden. Now, here's the first rule. You don't breathe heavy, right? Did you notice breathe with the F and not breathe? That's a Maryland thing. They don't breathe heavy, right? And you turn off the cell phone. You dim it, even the light, so that even if somebody calls, even if it's silent, the light won't go up. But no, that's not what Zoe does. Zoe's not from Maryland. Zoe has the ringer full tilt. And so even though Kane is or Goodnight is looking everywhere and everybody's hidden, they have a chance to live. Here comes the ringtone, right? And Kane is like, didn't I just go in there and I didn't find anybody? Let me go back and listen and pinpoint where it's coming from. He triangulates it, and when he opens up the closet, she's standing in full view like this. On the phone. She doesn't know how to turn off the ringer on the cell phone. And then she looks up at him and she's like, no, please help. And he chokes her again. He loves choking these females. I don't know what's going on. Whatever gets you off, buddy. We're going to come back to that later. He's choking her out for a little bit. I don't know if she likes it, you know, whatever. But then when he's not choking her and he's slamming her against the ground, the dirty ground, she yells, this is what she goes, Jacob, help. Jacob, come here, help me. What does Jacob do? Exactly what Ty does. And I said, Jacob, I was wrong about you, buddy. You're not an asshole. You're the smartest man in this movie. You deserve to live. And spoiler alert, Jacob lives. That is my best. Ricky, it is your turn now.
I have no bad scenes. I thought this was a great horror movie. I've got three favorite scenes. One was Kane choke-slamming that woman in the lift, so Mark kind of stole that one. But my other two were where he put the phone into the woman's mouth. I thought that was a great way of killing somebody. Very unique. And where he lowered the woman into the dog that lowered her down and the dog's at her. I thought that was very good as well. Very unique.
Yeah.
That scene pissed me off too. I'm sorry.
Yeah, PETA lovers did not love that scene, but those dogs tore her up. For those who haven't seen it, she falls through like a greenhouse window pane, and her wrists are lacerated, so she's bleeding out. But this dog that we see, the stray, who early on was very friendly, he licks her blood and immediately gets a taste for human flesh. And him and his friends, they come and they literally rip her to pieces as Kane laughs and watches from like 7 stories up. I don't know how tall this hotel is, but I will say one of your sequences when he shoves that cell phone down Zoe's throat, she's like choking on her own blood. I don't know how she's able to swallow it. This is not a cell phone today. This is a thick cell phone from like the early 2000s. So Zoe, girl, whatever you were doing, you knew what you was doing. She manages. She's not dead. She's not dead, mind you. Remember, she's still alive when he drags her away. So she's gonna feel when her eyes get plucked out. This guy has a thing for eyes, ladies and gentlemen. And she's just gargling on her own blood. It's a great shot, like because he makes her swallow it, and you see it go down her throat. Like it's wild. Kristen, what'd you say about the Peter? You love that scene? What?
Oh, it wasn't so much. It was the scene right before she fell to her death. It was when Kane was pulling her up the rope, and she missed like 6 windows that she could have held on and stopped him from pulling her up. But she didn't even try. She was just like, still hold on to the rope. No, let me go. She didn't even try to save herself. So I was like, that's the part that pissed me off. Like you could have.
And how tight was that fire hose that she tied around her waist?
Right.
That she couldn't, let me untie myself and just hold on to it.
And she could have held on to one of those ledges, those huge ledges attached to these windows, because they had there was a lot of space coming off the windows. You could have stood on there, but she refused because she wanted to die.
She wanted to die. I thought he was going to grab her from one of the other floors, you know what I mean, and just hold her there and grab her. Mm-hmm. But no, he let that lady fall. She fell.
Yeah, this is
we're gonna transit. This is gonna be hard for some of us, but we're gonna transition sadly to the worst of scenes. I don't know if some of us will have any, but let's go. Let's do this. Ricky, you were last time, but now you're gonna be first this time. Rick, you gotta do it. That's part of the show.
Yeah, I'm interested to hear your verse.
Do you have any?
If I had to pick one, it probably would have been what Chrissy said, that she didn't try and save herself, that she just wanted to die and fall to her death.
Mm-hmm.
That's really all I've got.
Really?
Okay.
There was an hour and 30 minutes.
Great movie.
There was an hour and 30 minutes to this movie.
Great. I've watched it many times.
So your problem was that she just gave up. She just quit. She didn't even try to save herself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just gave up.
That's fair. I respect that. If you give up, you don't want to live. It's a horror movie. You got to do what you got to do. Mark, let's jump to you. What do you have?
So where one of your favorite scenes was that phone scene,
mm-hmm.
I hated it. I thought it was, once again, predictable. It's like, okay, yeah, she's got the phone and they're hiding, and I'm watching them hide, which, like you said, record speed hiding. I've never seen anything in my life. Record speed hiding.
Yeah.
And then another thing, it was like, you talking about don't breathe heavy. I can hear her breathing.
Mm-hmm.
She's not she's not trying to be still and hold her breath. No, you still hear. But maybe that's a part of the effect, whatever. And then I'm like, so her phone's going to go off, right? That's what I'm thinking in my head. And then boom, her phone goes off. And I'm just like, predictable. I can't stand this movie.
Mm-hmm.
My next scene, yeah, that's fine. My next scene is the token black guy, right? He goes into the room with the money on the walls and the eyeballs in a jar.
Yes.
And he's all like, oh, snap. There really was a bunch of money in here. And it's like, wait a minute. So we're running from a rampaging lunatic, and we have eyeballs in jars and formaldehyde or whatever. And you're like concerned about this money now? No, I'm sorry. Can't. No.
Yes.
What are you doing? Stop it.
And by the way, correct me if I'm wrong, but they were in a juvenile facility, right? Now, I've never been to juvie, but I would assume they get patted down and everything like that. So what were they supposed to do with the money? Back from the quantum realm with 2 Infinity Stones. It's Glenn Jacobs, ladies and gentlemen, joining the show. Glenn, you got to come back because we have been loving this, but I hear secretly you hate this movie. So are you going to be the dissenting voice in this? You got to give us your best of, your worst of, and why you picked this movie.
All right. Well, number one, I picked this movie because I had never seen it before, and I always wanted to see it.
Okay.
But one thing that I definitely realized about this movie is that this movie was made for wrestling fans. Because if you know the story of Kane, if you know Kane's origin story about how him and the Undertaker were brothers and how there was a fire and how Kane got left that way and all of that, then it kind of just, this movie fits right into that. I think that if you're watching this movie fresh without necessarily knowing that, you can't necessarily put two and two together. Because above all else, you know, because Kane is a character that's been around for 20 years, and when Kane first came out, it was the brother of the Undertaker, and it was just big, this demonic being. But now that, and mind you, and also at the time, I think if this was one of the first of WWE Studios movies, so you know, they definitely didn't know what they were doing back then. However, I think that they definitely
this explains so much.
When it comes to the character, I think that they did it justice. Now, my best scene was because that shit was just funny.
I thought this was one of WWE's better movies. Well, there you go.
I mean, no, you know the thing is, I feel like they should have continued with the horror theme. You know, because they're doing like the Marine and like the kitty stuff. But I really liked how they took this wrestling character and then they put it in a horror movie. Like there's very few characters that they could have used to kind of make this. Now the one thing that it reminded me of a lot though was Jason. Like this movie reminded me a lot of Halloween. I mean, not Halloween, of Friday the 13th because of the mother. You know, like, you know, the whole situation with Jason and his mother and the sweater and the skull and all of that, and how his mother pretty much just controls him and tells him what to do and all of that. Yeah, that I didn't expect. And the reason why I didn't expect it because I've never seen Kane that vulnerable before. So like, but so, you know, just reiterating what I said, like this is really like you don't look at that character as anything else but Kane. Because one thing that I also did notice is that there's like they just jump right into the killing. Like there's very, very little storyline, and they really don't tell you that much about the character if you don't know anything about it. Like if you know who Kane is, then you can really just dive into it. So I really think that
What?
you know, it's gonna be a matter of perspective. Like, no, it's gonna be a matter of perspective. And I'm sorry to yap so much, but that's pretty much what it is. Like, if you're a wrestling fan, you're gonna like it, and if you're not gonna like this movie.
All right. Well, give us your best stuff then, as a wrestling fan, as the picker of this movie.
All right, my best scene is when the cop got killed, because you really thought that he was about to kick some ass, and then just a hook out of nowhere and bomb, and he's finished. And mind you, like, you know, the only thing and the only thing that I didn't like about that is because that, like, that's the main guy that the mother wanted to kill. You know, you would think that you would think that he would die later on in this movie. And then the other thing is that the black people were the last people to die. Like that doesn't happen. Like I remember Scream when Jada Pinkett like died before. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like that was different. Like I didn't, you know, the black girl, I thought she was gonna die first, but no, that didn't happen. But yeah, my favorite was that. Let me see, worst. Well, I guess the worst scene would be when his mother came in and then he started being all like, you know what I mean? Because his mother's like squeezing his arm, and he's all like, and then 2 minutes later he picks her ass up and throws her. So I'm just like, all right, what's that about? But I really feel like they definitely could have expanded into the story a little more. But this movie definitely, if you're a Kane fan, you're gonna love this movie. But if you're not a wrestling fan at all, you're not gonna like it.
All right.
Unless you really like all the gore and all the, like, you know, and the maggots coming out the back of his head, that was wild.
Yeah, that was nasty.
Yeah.
Chrissy, do you have your worst stuff? I'm sorry, Ricky, what'd you say?
That was a bit weird. The maggots coming out of his head. That wasn't really explained. But fair enough.
Gross. A lot of things weren't explained, but we'll get into that soon enough. But so my worst scene is going to be, well, I put one worst scene, but when I continue to watch the movie, because I write the worst scenes as I see them. But then the more I saw, the more I kept seeing. Them. So my first worst scene, and it ties into other worst scenes, was the shower scene where the kid, I think you guys called him Jacob. I don't know, because I didn't catch anybody's name in this movie. But he comes in and he chokes out the girl, and Taina had to come and tell her, "You get off of her," and all of that. And it was my worst scene because these are juvenile delinquents. They and some of them were in there for like very like vicious crimes. They were like attacking people. There was one in there for assault and other things. So how is it that these juveniles are let out with plain clothes, with one supervisor, one, maybe two, maybe the guidance counselor counts you guys, I don't know. But one police officer is responsible for all of these violent kids. So that was my worst scene, because
one-handed police officer.
One-handed, one gun police officer. And it's like he was literally everywhere he shouldn't be. Everywhere the kids were messing up, he was somewhere trying to flirt with one of the little girls. I'm like, this is odd.
For real though, when he came and took that cigarette from those girls, I thought he was gonna like flirt with them and try to smash.
He was trying to smash any and everybody, because he was low-key trying to go for guidance counselor too for a second.
I got that feeling when he was talking to the girl when she was washing dishes. I didn't know where the scene was gonna go. It was very rapish.
Yes.
You know, and I said, what is he about to do right now? Like, where is he gonna go? You know,
uncomfortable.
Yeah, because he was like, "Oh, I read your file. I know your whole story. I know what you did to your stepfather." And I'm like, "All right."
And the cigarette, when he was like, "Oh yeah, light it," he put his mouth all close to her, trying to get her to light the cigarette. And then he was trying to come on to the guidance counselor too, talking about, "Oh yeah, I see your ring."
Well, Chrissy, to be fair with the cigarette, he only had one good hand, so he had to come close. You know.
Right, because
the other one didn't have the opening, you know. It was
this
just
guy needs to be investigated.
Like the Ken doll.
Luckily, he died.
Well, he got hooked up. You're gonna have to take him off the hook to investigate his ass.
So yeah, that was my worst scene.
All right, let me get my worst stuff quickly. It's when we realize, and they're talking about the cop, and the cop is actually in the beginning of this movie, right? Chris, if you don't stop, the disrespect that Chris thinks I'm going to say something that's crazy. The cop says when they realize who did you see, right? And so the young girl who Vic is talking about that survives, she says, "I saw so and so get pulled." I don't remember the characters' names like that. Get pulled away. Somebody took her, and they realized that Kane took her in the dumbwaiter, right? And nobody saw her but the girl. And so the cop is like, "Wait a minute, that can't be, because I shot dude in the head." And then we get a flashback of, again, that opening montage in the beginning, and we realize that he was shot literally in the head. Now, we talked about it, that he has maggots in his head, and the maggots usually eat dead flesh or decaying flesh, right? So essentially, we realize that Jacob Goodnight, okay, is a zombie of sorts. Now, Vic did say that it was very reminiscent of Friday the 13th. Yeah, okay. It was very reminiscent. This is Chris trolling from the shadow, okay? From the shadow realm. But we did hear Vic say that the movie was reminiscent of Friday the 13th. And when we realize that the maggots and the flies that we constantly see are coming from him because his body is supposedly dead or decaying or half and half, then I have to ask myself, well, what's keeping him alive? And I'm not trying to be funny. Is it the power of Christ? Because there's a whole religious motif. How is he alive after getting shot point blank in the head and it blasting out a chunk of his brain? And the guy is so alive that he talks.
It masturbates.
He talks. He thinks. He set up tripwire. He sets up tripwire and everything like that. You know. So it got too crazy for me. There's certain things I allow. I allow that he's an expert hooker. I allow that he has strength incomparable. I allow for all of that, right? I allow that he apparently just wants to rub one out while he looks deeply into a girl's eyes. I allow for that. I get that. Whatever you need, whatever you need. You know, I allow that his fingernails look like dragon scales. I allow for all of that. What I don't allow is that you get shot point blank and a chunk of your brain gets blown out and you're still alive and kicking and killing people with the quickness. I don't get it. There was no setup for that. There's no explanation. That is my worst stuff.
Amen. Amen. Hallelujah. Because it was a lot of crazy.
You know what's crazy and I don't know if this is because of the debate last night, but as soon as I saw the maggots coming out the back of his head, for some reason the first person I thought of was Mike Pence.
It's the
Especially after last night.
I was like, yo, stop playing. Like, oh, for real.
and they're doing the close up on his eye too. That was like strained or whatever was going on. So maybe somebody was trying to pluck his eye. I don't know.
Probably.
But
like,
salute to Kane Pence, I guess. I don't know.
Thanks. All right, so taking cues from this movie, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, but we're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna come back in just a little bit, and we're gonna show you what's coming up on the next episode.
Walt Disney Pictures presents Bette Midler.
Hello.
Sarah Jessica Parker.
Would thou dance with me?
And Kathy Najimy.
I put a spell on you, and now you're gone. My planet fell on you, and it was strong.
All right, welcome back. Fine, next week we finally get some fantastic Halloween scary movies coming up with Hocus Pocus. Stay tuned.
Scary movies.
Look, don't even start. Hocus Pocus is a classic Halloween movie. It needed to be represented in 8 Tales of Terror, and I was the woman who did it. Thank me later. Tune in next week.
All right, where's the terror? Where's the terror in Hocus Pocus?
Did you not see zombies? Did you not see witches?
Where's the terror in Casper?
Actually, the movie is very scary. When you see Salem and you see that cat animatronic, you're going to be terrified. It looks terrible. You're going to be scared. You won't be able to sleep.
Fantastic.
Where's the terror in Casper?
Oh, and Casper's coming
it's
up
called
as
the
well.
title, Casper. The movie itself is horrifying. That me, a grown man, is watching this movie.
Wonderful picks, guys. Come back next week. You're going to love it. So we're going into quotables.
All right, let's do this. Who wants to jump in first? Should I guess? Should the man who's picked the movie? Mark wins. You claimed it. Let's go. Let's do it. Quotables.
Favorite quote of the movie? Probably the only quote of the movie. It's the only one that rang in my head. Jesus loves the little children, all the children of the world. Red and yellow, black and white, they are precious in his sight. Jesus loves the little children of the world.
Marvelous.
Oh yeah,
Marvelous.
Thank you.
Over and over. Yeah, and that's my quotable because I feel like nobody else said anything of any type of substance. Everything that everybody ever said was bland. Anything that everybody ever did was bland, other than maybe Kane.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's my quotable because nobody said anything. Nobody said anything of any substance. So yeah,
I agree.
That song was very reminiscent of Halloween 3: Season of the Witch, though. in that they kept playing it throughout the movie, and you kept hearing it. You know, when they did the countdown to the days of Halloween and everything like that.
I haven't seen that movie.
Chrissy, I'm not surprised that you've never seen Halloween 3 season.
I've seen
How did I
Hocus
know
Pocus.
that you haven't seen that movie? I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that.
So,
And Charmaine, yes. Well, no, the girl did not die when the cell phone was shoved down her throat. She had experience apparently in being able to handle a lot of things in her throat. And Ricky, why are you laughing? No, she was told to lie. She gargled. I saw the blood coming up on the side. She took it all the way down to her throat, right?
Yep, that little thing in the back of the throat.
And she said to Jacob in the movie, when I said that you need to step your standards up, I didn't say, I wasn't talking about me this high, meaning that she was high level. She was high level. That's what she just said. Those are her words. That's her quote. She's high level. Mm-hmm. And Kane proved it. She was high level. All right. So who wants to go next? I don't know where the.
All right, I'll go next. When all right, when the I forget his name, but he was supposed to be the badass. He was the guy that was walking around with the pipe.
Nobody knows the name in here.
Jacob.
I thought his name was Mike.
Me
no,
too.
it is Mike. It is Mike. Yeah,
because Jacob is Kane.
Yeah.
Oh, is it Mike? You sure?
Yeah, Mike is the guy. The guy that was beating up Kane. No, the guy that hit Kane with the pipe.
It's Michael.
I wrote down Michael.
Yeah, so Michael, when Michael came out behind, when he walked in on his ex-girl, and he said to her, and she's like, "What are you doing here?" And he's like, "You should be used to me coming in through the back door." I was like, "Yo, this dude is raw right now." And then the other one was when he was with the other girl, with the blonde girl, and then she was just being a tease, and she says to him, she's like, "You can do so much better, but not this much better."
Why for the city girls one, city boys none. She owned him with that quote. I appreciate it.
For real, like that was wild. Yeah.
All right.
Apologize for these votes.
See, that's the executive.
You want me to go?
First of all, you sitting there talking all this tomfoolery, talking about apologizing for these hosts. Why don't you do better? Okay? Why don't you shoot fly and do better and come into the spot before you start talking all that tomfoolery. All right? Shoot fly yourself.
So I'll go next. I'll say my quotable because this was so funny to me. Okay, so this is when our good friend Token Black comes in and he finally decides, let me tell somebody what I saw here. You know who I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm. No, he ain't Token Black because he didn't die right away.
How did you know who I was? How did you know? There was two people of African descent in this movie.
Because you said he. You said he. There was a male. Okay. There was a male and a female.
Black. That's true. So Token Black. What is going on here?
Chris is talking backstage. Chris is talking backstage.
Okay, so
yeah, we got
when he fight. Okay, so when he finally comes and decides he wants to tell somebody that his good friend Rishi died, or his partner in crime has died, he tells Rick Grimes that this is what he says exactly.
What did you call him?
Rick Grimes. If you watch Walking Dead, you know.
I know who it is. I know
the police officer. He says he's huge. He has a long chain and a hole in his head. And instantly, this police officer, who's been in the force for who knows how many years and probably shot out how many people, 14 years, knew exactly who this mother effer was talking about.
Well, to be fair, how often do you run into a huge man with a chain and a hook?
Come on now.
Chris, I don't know your circles.
14, he's been a police officer for 14 years.
Yeah, but that's not.
And huge is relative. It's not like he gave a very descriptive. Yeah, he never said this was a bald man.
Chris put it up there. I apologize for these.
He just said the guy was huge. He had a chain, And pretty much that was it. And Guy was like, all of a sudden, oh, I know it. I know exactly who it is.
And then the crazy thing about that is he knew who he was and then died in his first encounter with dude.
Yes.
Like,
and it was like how many years later?
Were you not mentally prepared for this? Like, I don't understand.
Not at all. Not at all.
Because they never got the body. So why did he think he was dead?
Movies. From the WWE. These are the movies. I had no idea this was from them, and it makes a lot of sense. I'm glad you came in, Mark, because Vic, because yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And that explains a lot of the acting. That explains a lot of the writing.
Be careful, Chrissy.
Oh yeah, no, the acting.
Where you going, Chrissy? Where you going?
No, the acting was terrible.
This is.
No, the acting
was the movie.
No, the acting was because I never saw it and I wanted to see it. But
are you serious?
You picked it, never seen it?
No, I always wanted to see it. I thought it was much better than what it was because
ladies and gentlemen at home, I apologize.
Here's the truth. No, here's the truth though. Like, as far as a killing machine, as a scary character, and all of that, I think he did it very well. I think that this movie did as well as it did because of the character that was already established by the wrestling community. You know, I mean, look, The Rock. Look, you even come to The Rock. The Rock doesn't have all good movies, but The Rock consistently sells out because of his wrestling base, his wrestling fan base. Listen, every movie that The Rock comes out with, all of the wrestling fans are gonna go watch, and then everybody else is just.
I'm sorry, Vic. 1 second.
Right, so,
Ricky, is that true?
Yes, they were all wrestling fans will go to watch The Rock's movies. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean anybody, especially, and look, and mind you, Ricky is a huge Rock mark. So even if it's freaking, the one where he's a fairy, you're gonna go watch it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Ricky, don't co-sign this. Don't co-sign this.
It's the truth, though. It's the truth, though. It is the truth, though. That's how it is. Listen. Everybody knows that The Rock has the mic skills, but the bottom line is that when it comes to this movie, this character has always been portrayed as a scary villain. So to see him in a position where he's running around killing people, I'm sure that anybody that was a wrestling fan, especially at the time, was very curious to see how it would turn out. And I think that he did it well, to tell you the truth. Of course, Chris disagrees. Of course he does. That's what he does. He'll disagree with anything you have to say. But
Vic just gave his final thoughts on this movie, but we're still on quotables.
If I actually can interject real quick, right? I do disagree with Vic on this one because everybody knows I'm probably the biggest wrestling fan you know, and I have not seen every Rock movie because I have taste. So I have to disagree with what Vic is saying. That's all. But
what I'm saying in general, most people are going to run around and go see The Rock's movies just because he's The Rock. Point blank, period.
You know what? I really, that's a wonderful point, guys. Great quote. I remember that from the movie.
As far as WWE Studios, this is the third highest grossing WWE Studios film.
Thank you.
Ricky, did you see Tooth Fairy before we go to your quote?
Of course.
Of course. I respect
Ricky, please continue with your quote. Please continue. Not from the Tooth Fairy, but from See No Evil.
It was Kane's only little bit of dialogue in this movie where he said, I see the scene, I see it. That was my only quote really in this movie. I thought,
all right.
I thought
Would
that
you
was
like
good.
to give a quote from Tooth Fairy? I haven't seen that movie.
Don't bother watching it. Don't bother watching it.
All right. Well, I have two quotes really, but it's from the same scene. It's from the opening of this movie because I too thought it was hilarious. Here goes, and it's the two cops. Now, one is the 14-year veteran rather of the police force, and the other one is a rookie. Rookie, I'm guessing he just started. Maybe he got 6 months, not even a year, right? Because they call him a rookie, and they don't say that he had X amount of years, right? And they get a wellness check to go to a house because there's loud music. And as one of them, as the rookie says, there have been reports of screams. Okay. And this is them. This is the rookie and the veteran. Okay. Jesus, that is loud, talking about the music. I'd call in too. Neighbors also said they were screaming. they knock on the door. The door's open. It's unlocked and open. And when the door pushes in a little bit more, they hear this blood curdling scream from some woman from the inside. No power whatsoever, right? This is what the rookie says. Hey, shouldn't we wait for backup? The veteran, you wait. And I sat there and I said, now wait a minute. Shouldn't the veteran say, hey, rookie, we don't know what's in this dark house. We don't know who's in there. Let's wait a minute and we can get backup. There's no harm in that. We don't even know where the woman is. If it's a recording, we have no confirmation of anything. No, he says, you wait. So they go in there, guns ablaze, as we do in this country, Ricky. I don't know if you've seen the news over here. And they went in there, and they're going to be the cowboys they're going to be the cowboys that we love to claim to be, right? And then they see this woman sitting in some kind of satanic circle. Okay, no, you put it back. I love to see the hate in their eyes, right? So she's sitting in some satanic circle, right? Vic, are you still with us, buddy? You're still with us? You're still here? Okay. And so the woman is not saying anything. The woman still has a tongue. She doesn't say, hey, there's a maniac who's ripped out my eyeballs. No warning. She's a church mouse. Now she's quiet. No eyeballs, but she's quiet. Before she was screaming, she had everything to say. Now that the cops are here, nothing. Right? That's disrespectful, Chris. Chris is disrespectful with that, right? Notice what he did to Chrissy. And so Kane is right behind this butcher's curtain, right? And so the rookie is the one clearing the room, not the vet, the rookie. And of course, he doesn't look everywhere because he doesn't know what he's doing. And the vet is on the ground. He says, hey, chick, why aren't you talking now? What's going on? He doesn't answer that. He's just trying to touch her face like he's trying to touch the girls at this hotel later on in the movie. So we see he has a penchant for it, right? And then Kane comes out of nowhere with the sharpest axe I've ever seen in my life and literally hacks the man in two. He cleaves him in two, right? Some Shakespearean reference for you, Ricky. My respect to you, right? And then he tries to attack the veteran. And again, with the sharpest, axe, he hacks off the guy's arm. The guy gets one shot off on him, and he runs away.
Did you guys see the rubber arm?
Yes. He runs away, and the finger's still like twitching, and he's laying on the ground like this. Kane doesn't come back, who's still alive because he has zombie blood. He doesn't come back and finish the guy. Mrs. Voorhees doesn't come out from behind the curtain and say, "Kill her, mommy, kill her." Right? She doesn't do anything. They just let this guy bleed out until the ambulance get there. And then the flashlight goes on the woman who has no eyeballs, and we see all the secrets in the back of her head. That is my quotable, ladies. Great thing. The back up. You wait.
What are you doing, Chris?
We're going to jump into our next segment, and it's going to be recasted. Ladies and gentlemen, you're in for a treat tonight. We are going to start with Ricky. Ricky said he only had one. I'm very curious. Ricky, who did you pick to be recast?
Hold on. Okay. The cop. He was so rubbish in this film, so I've picked...
Just the cop?
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
What's this?
That's a good recasted, actually. I'm going to give you credit for that.
Every good... Woody Harrelson, every film he's in, he's good. He plays great parts. Can't think of a bad movie he's been in.
Yeah.
And I think he would have added something to this film, made this film bigger than it was, an actual star in this movie. So yeah, that's my recasting.
An actual star.
I don't know if you heard, I don't know if the trailer's dropped for you yet, but did you know that Woody Harrelson is going to be in a movie with Dwayne Johnson?
Is he?
Tooth Fairy 2.
He's made it already. It was rubbish.
Mark, did you want to go ahead with your recasting and tell us who you picked?
Yeah, we can do that. Sure. So I guess I'm glad Vic came on to be like, yeah, this is a movie for wrestling fans, because my recasted is kind of sort of a wrestling reference, because I don't think Kane deserved to be in this movie. Not that he's not good. I think that the movie was... I think that he was better. He was too good for the movie. So he should have been... So they should recast him with a lesser WWE star, and I think they recasted him with Mark Wright, aka the Boogeyman. I think it would have worked. I think it would have worked a little better because A, we're not disrespecting Kane, and B, the boogeyman, like to see him on the screen actually doing stuff in a horror movie, I think it would have elevated his character in the WWE. So that's my recast it.
There's only one token black allowed, okay? Not two.
Wow.
But there were two.
One girl, one boy. That's it. All right. Well, guys, I'm going to go ahead and go next because I only have one recast at this time. Actually, but the funny thing is, I don't watch wrestling. I have no clue about anything wrestling. But I was thinking about recasting Kane as the Undertaker. And I was like, oh, but then he said that they were kind of like there's some kind of connection. I was like, okay, well, now I see.
I mean, that would work.
Clairvoyance.
That would definitely work. But
I recasted our good friend Michael / Jacob. When I saw this man, I said, I've seen this face before. And I thought, I'm going to recast him to the man it should have been.
I knew you were going to say it. I knew it.
Wow. That is hilarious.
Because had they have changed him out, I wouldn't have known. I would have no idea the difference. So
that's a good one too. I'll give you that.
That's my recast. The guy from Lord of the Rings replaces Michael / Jacob.
So you're gonna replace Michael with Second Breakfast.
Second Breakfast, yes, because I can get down with that. I'm here for that platform. Second Breakfast.
Vic, who you got? Who you got? Glenn Jacobs. Who are you recasting?
Wait, skip me because I'm uploading them.
All right, I'm gonna go. Chris, get ready for the tomfoolery because here it goes. Now listen, this cast is a cadre. That's a word you don't always hear. There's a cadre of everybody that you want to see in a movie. We got Token Black, as Chrissy calls him. We got Kodak Black in the sequel, as Vic loves to say. But you know who I love? I thought it was great that they brought in the kids from Beyond Scared Street. And I thought giving them a chance to be in a movie was so great. So here it is. The first one, Richie, who got killed, I would recast him as this one right here. Right? That's Richie who got killed. He's the first one. That Token Black watch get dragged off and he didn't say anything. I'm also going to say Alakazam because Ricky has disappeared. Next up, we talked about him. Chrissy replaced him with one of Frodo's friends, but I think he can also be replaced with somebody else. And this is what I did from Beyond Scared Straight. You see, he's just laughing. He's not afraid. You need a hero like that. He's a survivor. He's not afraid at all. Okay, he's not scared. Nothing scares him. But then again, you know what? Because I always look after my own people, I'm not gonna forget them. I gotta put Token Black in there, and here's Token Black right here. Token Black. He's not scared. They're not shaking him down. You see, he has that look on his face. He wants that money. He's thinking about that money, son. That money. Now, listen, we already did this movie, but I thought that she did a great job in that one. Okay. And Chrissy liked this movie. Okay. It's all about women empowerment, but I brought it back. In the beginning of the movie, she was like this one on the right. But then towards the end of the movie, she became like on the left. And here it is, Renee Montoya as the other person of color in this movie. In the beginning of the movie, she was like the one in the leather jacket. But towards the end, when she couldn't do anything and she had no fighting skills, she became like the one on the left, Renee Montoya. But listen, Chris, go back, put it back. I want to see the hate. I love the hate, okay?
I want to see the hate.
But, okay, I can't forget about my boy. I can't forget about one hand, okay? One hand, Dr. Loomis himself. You see, I have his name up there. Dr. Loomis. He saw Michael in the garage. He's still terrified of him 14 years after the incident or whatever it is. Dr. Loomis, as the man who was hitting on these young children and trying to get a shot with the lady who was okay? Dr. Loomis. And who is Dr. Loomis going after? Dr. Loomis is going after your boy Michael, right? Or Jacob, as we call him in this movie, right? And he says, I got to get Jacob. But Jacob, all we can think about is this. That's all Jacob can think about. But if I'm going to recast Jacob, you know who I'm going to recast him as? My man from Pan's Labyrinth. That's who Jacob is to me. And that's who I kept thinking about every time I saw him pluck an eye. And he had the same nasty fingernails. Wait, there's more. There's more. And last but not least, because we barely got to talk about her, we all loved her. And I saw her in this. Chris, I don't care about your hate. I feed off of it, okay? We can't forget about her. The one and only Mrs. Voorhees as Jacob's mother. Kill her, mommy, kill her. That's exactly who she was. That's exactly the movie that they ripped off. And I kept thinking about it. I've seen this movie before. It's called Friday the 13th. It's called Halloween. It's called Give Me Your Money. Vic, it is your turn. Who are you recasting?
Okay, well, there's several actually. All right, number one, the main cop. Oh damn, there's no pictures of him up here, but I'll just show you my recasted. The main cop that got killed, you know, that got hooked and lost his hand. I think that this would have been a perfect replacement. And and as far as Jacob's mother, as some of you are gonna get this, some of you are not. It's gonna be very accurate for some of you, but some of you not so much. As far as Jacob's mother, I think this person would have played him perfectly. Played her perfectly. So
you're wrong for that. You're wrong.
That is the infamous Fabulous Moolah.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think she would have played that.
Who is she?
Why are you laughing? You laughing your ass off in the background, Chris. Well. You laughing back there because you know it's true. You know that would have been
shit is true, and I'm done this. I can't stand this tomfoolery anymore. all y'all have disappointed me tonight. Like every single Thursday, I wish I was able to watch this movie in its entirety before I came up here. But, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to a commercial break, and we're going to go to our final thoughts. I'm going to have
wait. I just want to say one thing. The girl, the cocktease girl, that could have been replaced by.
Oh my God! I can't do this anymore. I gotta have a conversation with my co-host and her guest. I can't do this, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back. Find out what we're gonna watch next Thursday here at 8 Tales of Terror. These people, I don't. It might be new hosts next week. I don't know what's going on.
We need so much of this movie, and I wanted him to cast him because I couldn't stand him. And that's the Naya's brother. Little brother, right? Yeah, he can be recasted, and this is who I want to put him up as. I think this guy, this man stepped up into a fight with this guy, had a knife to the guy, could not commit to doing it. Okay, so the guy was like, female dog slapped him, right? And then he goes, runs, and he calls his big sister for help. Okay, yeah, here, right? This guy literally was running, and this guy was walking as slow as this guy. For some reason, was able to catch up to this guy. And not only that, this girl was across the hall, right? And she's taking it in time to save this guy from this guy, which is actually this guy. It made no sense. I couldn't stand it. But that is my recasting.
Not again.
Get a life.
What a waste of a death, huh?
Being a ghost is really dumb.
That does it. Sorry, nephew, but it's time to go on the big screen.
Gosh, I don't really want to scare anyone.
Another fantastic movie selection, Casper, coming up later on next week. Stay here and check it out. You know you love the movie. It's another fantastic Halloween movie picked by yours truly. So come next week and enjoy it with us because, you know, I got all the best selections and you'll be happy for your Halloween. Not too much gore. Just perfect Halloween family fun. Come on right on back to Unpopular Review Entertainment. But so now that everyone's done their recast, that leads us into final thoughts, guys. So we've been given a couple thoughts throughout the show, but now is our official segment to tell everyone what we thought about the movie. So who wants to go first?
Well,
No
Vic,
volunteer.
you've already done yours several times, but who wants to go first for their final thoughts? What they thought about the movie?
I'll go. I'll go first. Okay. So pretty much, this movie was all over the place. I didn't like the movie. Surprise, surprise. It was just too gory, and not the gore just didn't make sense. It seemed like they were just throwing in gore in lieu of actual other things in the script. There was really there's no conversations really. There was barely any quotables. There was not too much going on besides kill, kill, kill. And it was just a bad movie, guys. I don't know what to tell you. Besides, thumbs down from me. And if you want some good thumbs up movies, come next week, Tuesdays and Thursdays for Hocus Pocus and Cast. But this ain't it. This is thumbs down. What? Thumbs down for this movie, but thumbs up for next week. Thumbs down for this movie. Okay, so who would like to go next? What of our special guests?
Sure, I'll go next.
All right, we got Mark Wins up here.
So, final thoughts, right? Like I said, Kane deserved better. I think that he deserved to not be in this movie, or if he was in this movie, he deserved a couple more championship runs in the WWE for having to deal with this. This movie was ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. I personally don't like horror movies, so there may be a bias with that. But at the same time, I feel like this was one of the reasons why I don't like horror movies is because I just feel like they're predictable, and this just oozes of predictability. Like I said, with the phone, she goes hiding, and I'm like, the phone's gonna ring. Predictable. Grandma being part of the whole plan when she's all like, oh, there's no hidden room. Somebody said that there's hidden rooms and see-through mirrors, but we never found them. You're part of this. I don't. Obviously, it was ridiculous. The dude Mike / Jacob, right, when he fights Kane for a little bit and he doesn't die. Like, you can look at him and you can tell he just got hit and doesn't die. Blows my mind. Why is he not dying? Oh, because he's going to come back to save the day. Sure enough, he saved the day. Like, the movie was just way too predictable for me, and it just made it extra boring. The acting, garbage. Like, I don't even know if there was even acting. I feel like this, like, ever seen like a really bad Instagram skit? That's what this movie was like. It was just a really bad Instagram skit.
Or a wrestling match.
Sure, let's go with that. It was a really bad wrestling match. We can do that too. I hate speaking of Instagram, I hate the Instagram filter that was over the movie. Like, I guess it was for ambiance or something like that. Trash. Can't stand it. You know, and then they tried to be clever with the see no evil, and he's doing the eyeball so they can't see evil. Yeah, whatever. Like, no, this movie was terrible. Like I said, I do have a bias against horror movies, and I understand that. You know what I'm saying? My bias for horror movies can be the same as somebody's bias against action movies or whatever. I don't care. I know that this movie, I didn't like it. It personified spectacle over substance. There was no substance in this movie at all. Everything was just gore. It was killing. There was no, like, the one time there was like thought process, it was super rushed. Like when with the cop, he was like, oh man, I know this guy. And then you run into, and so you think you know this guy, you would think, all right, I gotta be more careful, right? No, I'm just gonna run right into it and die. Like, unnecessary. This movie basically shows why I don't like horror movies. Thumbs down, can't do it. This is down.
No.
Down. I'm fine. Yeah, there we go. Thumbs down. Movie was terrible.
All right.
I agree.
Ricky, you've been biting your nails. What do you think?
Great movie. Great horror film. Perfect for Kane. Why are you laughing? Perfect for Kane. Perfect for his character in WWE. They actually made this into a god-awful storyline in WWE. But I enjoyed it. It was what it was. It was a WWE movie. It would get much better, I don't think. And it set up the second one perfectly. And yeah, I enjoyed it. Good film. Yeah, double thumbs up. Double. Yeah, double.
All right, Vic, did you want to close it out, or did you want me to go? No, put it
go ahead.
on the thing, Chris.
Go ahead.
All right.
I'll close it out at the end. I only have a couple little things to say.
Okay, well, let me just say, I think that's well said, what Mark just said, spectacle over substance. That, to me, all joking aside, has to be the quote of, as far as I've been on this show, That's the quote, spectacle over substance. And that speaks for a lot of different fair. I thought that you were fair in what you said, that it may have been biased, but again, there was nothing for you to change your mind based on what the movie showed you. So I think that was a fair and objective review of it. My final thoughts on this is that I didn't like Casper. That's my final thought. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait, I'm sorry. Pardon me. That's next week. That's next week.
It's the drink hitting them.
What I meant to say was I didn't like Hocus Pocus. No, that's sorry. That's next
Blasphemy.
week. What I'm saying about this movie is this: that this entire movie could have been solved. This entire movie, Chris, I can't stand you. This entire movie could have been solved had one of those girls taken one for the team and helped old boy relieve that stress. Okay, that's all he needed. He just needed a stress reliever, right? Had one of them taken that L for the team, everybody else could have walked out the door. They could have jumped Mrs. Voorhees, right? And they could have been out the hotel. You could have had a hero cop, he would have still made it. But the females were selfish in this movie. Why? Why? Old boy just wanted some money off of the dirty wall. He didn't have to get crushed to death, huh? People don't have to get their eyes plucked out. Little Richie, he didn't have to get a hook in his leg in his back. Right? The girls just had to do what they had to do. And one of them was in that job. She was in that business.
No.
The script said it. He just needed some release. You see what he tried to do when he gave her a bath? He was about to explode. If you were ever in a situation like that, and I'm with you, by all means, relieve the killer so that I can leave and get you help. I want to save you by escaping first and bringing people with weapons. I will do that for you if you do something for me and relieve the stress of a killer. But this movie was terrible. Vic, I love you, but I hate you for these picks. Why would you do this to me? I've only ever been nice to you. I've tried to encourage you. But these two movies, this 1 week, why? Why do you hate me? This movie gets a thumbs down for me, despite what Chris says.
Thumbs down.
Okay, so from now on, I think that if a movie is made by WWE Studios, we should review it on the wrestling portion of this show. Because this movie was... No, the reason why I say that is because this movie was booked like a wrestling match. See, the thing about the Big Red Machine, Kane, is that number one, his character got over so much that it got to the point where they even made a thing called an Inferno match. Inferno matches only lasted, a very short amount of time, but it really went into the character. So now fire and burning and all of this stuff, it's really synonymous with Kane. But the thing with this is that more than a movie, it felt like a match. Like, because 15 minutes in, you're already killing people. Not necessarily, hey man, who's doing that? Anyway, so 15 minutes in, he's already killing people. You don't necessarily see a storyline. The whole thing is just booked like if it was a wrestling match. Right away, he's just going in and bomb, 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 and people are already dying. So I think that the writing, I think that they kind of wrote this like if it was for wrestling. I mean, and the other thing is like this movie was made for the wrestling fan. This movie was made for the person that knows Glenn Jacobs and knows Kane, knows his character, knows Isaac Yankum DDS, and just wanted to see him literally running around killing people. I don't think anybody went to go see this movie. Who went to see this movie was looking for a story, was looking for substance, was looking for thinking, was looking for anything like that. I think anybody who went to go see this movie just wanted to see this character start killing because they know this character. Anybody who doesn't the character,
Zoe.
Yeah, anybody who doesn't know the character, then they're just not necessarily going to be into it. And that's my cue to out.
Was it a thumbs up or a thumbs down?
Right.
Thumbs up or thumbs down?
He gave it. Okay.
He gave this a thumbs up.
Yeah, he did. He gave it.
It was a thumbs up. It was a thumbs up, naturally. I mean, come on now.
You just said it wasn't good when you first came to the show.
No, I mean, look, no. What I'm trying to say to you is that it's all a matter of perspective. If you're a wrestling fan, you're gonna like it. You know what I mean? If you're a wrestling fan, you're gonna like it. If you're not a wrestling fan, you're not gonna like it. Point blank, period. You know what I mean? It's just like watching The Wrestler with Mickey Rourke. It's just like watching that movie. Film. It's a great film, but to anybody else who's not a wrestling fan, they're gonna look at it like it's terrible because they don't know what the
All right, whatever you say.
Chris, what do you have to say? You've been hating from the shadows all night. What do you have to say?
You muted me, but that's fine. Hey, I came back. Hey, it was final thoughts. I didn't get to see the movie right before, so I don't want to give my opinion. I don't want to give a thumbs up or a thumbs down to it. But I will let you know that it was a great episode. Thank you so much. I enjoyed this episode, and 8 Tales of Terror, and we are down to 6 more. 6 more.
Chris, correction. 4 more. 4 more.
Exactly. 4 more. There's no terror, no hocus pocus.
6 more.
Casper is a friendly ghost, not a.
The other ones weren't friendly, and they were zombies.
Let's put it this way. We're down to 6 more Tales of Terror debated and arguable about that because we do. It's you know what? It's not really so much horror. It's about the movie and the spirit of Halloween and the spirit of
Hocus Pocus is very Halloween.
Is definitely defined by Hocus Pocus, which is one of the greatest Halloween movies of all time. So if you want to be scared, we have Saw coming up, we have Dream Warriors coming up, we have The Shining coming up, and we have Casper coming up, which is the scariest of them all because you have to watch it. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching us here at Unpopular Reviews Entertainment. Sitting here talking about See No Evil. Hey, 3 thumbs down, 2 thumbs up. Sounds like a good thumbs up in my book. We'll see you next time. If you're a wrestling fan, join us immediately after. In 5 minutes, we'll be having a draft episode on this big Thursday. But thank you so much for Dr. Loomis, for See the Superior, for May 19th, for Mark Wynn, for Glenn Jacobs. I am CEO today.
It's my dog's birthday, guys.
You are heavyweight champion of the world.
Happy birthday, puppy.
Yeah.
Whose birthday is it?
It's my dog's birthday.
He doesn't understand.
It's a girl.
Is somebody's birthday?
My dog's birthday.
Oh, Princess Mumu.
Yes.
Speaking of horror. All right.